Prince Andrew's infamous interview in which he tried and spectacularly failed to defend his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, the disgraced former prince, is now at the centre of shocking revelations about Prince William's deep concern for his uncle's mental health, even as the Duke of York faces arrest and disgrace from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal that has rocked the monarchy to its core. Behind the palace walls, a very different story is emerging about the future king's true feelings toward the man who brought unprecedented scandal to the royal family. For months, Prince William has been painted as the ruthless enforcer, the tough guy pushing his father, King Charles, to strip Andrew of his titles and kick him out of his beloved royal lodge. Palace insiders are now revealing a startling truth that completely changes how we see this royal drama. According to sources close to the Prince of Wales, William wasn't the cold-hearted nephew demanding punishment. He was actually deeply worried about what would happen to Andrew's mental state when everything was taken away from him. This revelation comes at a time when Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor faces the darkest chapter of his life. On February 19th, 2026, police swept into the grounds of his Sandringham home at 8 in the morning and arrested him on his 66th birthday, making him the first senior British royal to be arrested in almost 400 years. The last time a British royal was hauled off in handcuffs was way back in 1647. The arrest was particularly devastating for his daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, while his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, has maintained her support despite the scandal. Here's where the story gets really interesting. A palace insider told The Times that William's image as the family enforcer was completely wrong. They revealed that, if anything, William was deeply concerned for his uncle's mental health and how Andrew would cope after everything was taken away. Kate Middleton, in turn, supported her husband in this compassionate approach. Phil Dampier, a respected royal commentator, explains the complexity of William's position perfectly. He says that while William was indeed encouraging King Charles to act decisively about stripping Andrew of titles and evicting him from Royal Lodge, on a human level, the future king was very concerned for his uncle's mental well-being. This isn't just political manoeuvring. It's personal family concern from someone who has made mental health advocacy a cornerstone of his public work. William's credentials in mental health advocacy are impressive. Through the Royal Foundation's Heads Together campaign, launched in 2016 alongside Kate and Harry, they brought together 8 charity partners, including Mind, Calm and Young Minds, fundamentally changing the conversation around mental health in Britain. The campaign reached nearly half of all football fans, an estimated 8 million people. William's Foundation is even contributing $1.3 million to develop a national suicide prevention network in the UK. Royal expert Jenny Bond paints a heartbreaking picture of Andrew's current mental state. She describes him as isolated, depressed, and solitary. While there's no love lost between William, Catherine, and Andrew, Bond explains that they, along with the rest of the royal family, believe they still have a duty of care for his welfare and mental health. This sense of family responsibility runs deep, even when dealing with someone who has brought such shame to the institution. The irony isn't lost that Andrew, once a Falklands War hero who served his country with distinction, has fallen so far from grace. The timeline of Andrew's downfall has been swift and brutal. It all began accelerating in April 2025, when Virginia Giuffre, one of Jeffrey Epstein's most prominent accusers, tragically died by suicide in Australia. In October, Andrew voluntarily relinquished his Duke of York title, and by October 30th, King Charles had formally stripped him of all remaining titles and honours. The final blow came in November, when letters patent were issued removing his Royal Highness style and Prince title entirely. The crisis had been building since Andrew's disastrous BBC Newsnight interview in 2019, where his claims about being unable to sweat and visiting Pizza Express in Woking became public relations disasters. The The real bombshell dropped on January 30th, 2026, when the US Department of Justice and FBI released over 3 million pages of documents, 180,000 images, and 2,000 videos related to Jeffrey Epstein's activities. More than 500 attorneys and reviewers from the department contributed to this massive document release, and the revelations were devastating for Andrew's already tattered reputation. The financial details of Andrew's situation are staggering. His lease on Royal Lodge Windsor was for 75 years, held from the Crown Estate, with a single £1 million premium and a commitment to spend £7.5 million on refurbishment. The property itself is worth a reported $38 million. Andrew was entitled to nearly £500,000 for ending his tenancy, but a Crown Estate report concluded that the property's condition was so decrepit that he would likely receive no compensation whatsoever. Legal experts estimate that Andrew's undisclosed settlement with Virginia Giuffre cost him as much as $10 million, adding to his financial woes. By February 2026, he was forced to leave the Grand Royal Lodge Windsor and relocate to Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate, a much more modest accommodation that must have felt like a prison after decades of royal luxury. The arrest itself was dramatic and unprecedented. Thames Valley Police completed a 6-day search of Royal Lodge, and Andrew remains under investigation for misconduct in public office, specifically allegations that he shared confidential trade information with Jeffrey Epstein when he served as a trade envoy for the UK. The accusation strikes at the heart of his former role representing British interests abroad. What makes this even more poignant is how it affected the broader royal family. Following Andrew's arrest, William appeared visibly stressed at the BAFTAs alongside Kate. The prince admitted he wasn't in a very calm state, offering a rare insight into the pressure building behind Buckingham Palace walls. While the royal couple hasn't directly commented on Andrew's arrest, William's candid remark revealed just how much this crisis is weighing on the future king. This has created a fascinating contradiction in William's public image. Radio host Sheila Fogarty criticised William's continued mental health advocacy during this crisis, arguing that it feels clumsy at best and out of touch at worst, while serious questions persist about what the royal family knew about Andrew's associations. She wrote that everything senior royals say risks sounding like noise until the central question is addressed about their knowledge of Andrew's alleged activities. William has continued his mental health work regardless. On February 18th, 2026, just one day before Andrew's arrest, William took part in a BBC Radio 1 panel on male suicide. He spoke about the need for more male role models talking openly about mental health, saying it should become second nature to all of us. This timing, whether coincidental or not, adds another layer to the complexity of his position. Royal biographer Robert Jobson believes that even family members who took action against Andrew are concerned about his mental health, noting that the former prince is not very well. A longtime associate of Andrew claimed he feels isolated and unfairly singled out within the royal family, adding that if he thinks he's being sacrificed, he won't take it quietly. The broader implications are staggering. The government is considering formally removing Andrew from the line of succession to the crown, even though he remains 8th in line despite losing his prince status. US lawmakers want him to testify about his Epstein connections, with Vice President J.D. Vance saying he's certainly open to Andrew appearing before Congress. What emerges from all this is a picture of Prince William caught between his duty to protect the monarchy and his genuine concern for a family member in crisis. His advocacy for mental health isn't just a royal cause. It's apparently influencing how he approaches the most difficult family situation of his lifetime. This story reveals that even in the highest echelons of power and privilege, mental health struggles are real. Family bonds matter, and sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply care about someone who has fallen from grace. William's concern for Andrew shows us a future king who understands that leadership isn't just about making tough decisions, it's about maintaining your humanity, even when dealing with the most challenging family crises imaginable. But with that said, for us in the public realm, it's extremely difficult to feel any sympathy at all. When you look at the history of behaviour, the poor treatment of people for decades, lack of accountability and entitlement, it leaves many of us with little remorse for his downfall. But I want to know how you feel. Do you think Andrew deserves the actions taken so far? Is it enough? And what do you think is next for him? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to stay updated on this story and more royal family news, be sure to subscribe.